When you lose a pot like this, it's fishing for years and years and years. It's still doing damage to the environment. You've lost your pot for whatever reason. Someone ran over your pot, or you set it too deep. If your pot's missing, with Rescue Unit, you're going to retrieve that lost pot.
So you have this process called ghost fishing, where you have, for example, a crab pot like you see in the video. Crab goes in, starves to death, and becomes bait for the next generation, and this goes on in perpetuity. So ghost fishing is, of course, eating off the resources, valuable resources, food that should end up on the plates instead of being wasted on the bottom of the sea. So you have that issue, and you also have the plastic, when it dissolves, becomes microplastic particles and goes into the food chain. So you can even now take a blood sample, probably of all you guys in here, and you'll find particles of plastic in the cells. We don't know yet how dangerous this is, but we know for a fact that we are there already. So I think it's very crucial that we stop the pollution of the fish from fishing gear in the ocean. Many people are talking about bottles and straws and a lot of other plastic components, which are important in and of themselves. But I think fishing gear, in terms of volume, is the greatest threat. Around 75% of all macroplastic elements in the sea. So macroplastic is larger than 10 centimeters. 75% of that is from fishing gear. So when we took this product a bit further, added some technology, thanks to Stig Bakke and his team, we now have an electronic release mechanism. So you can set that with your app if you want 2-day release or 10-day release or even a year release. If the unit remains underwater for that amount of time, the backup buoy releases and you can get your gear back. We intended this for the fishing gear, like you see on the video, but there are many different applications. Everything that is lost at sea or deployed at sea is going to be there for a certain amount of time, and you don't want a primary buoy, for example, because they get cut off by boats and whatever, and you can have this backup secondary buoy deploy on your time of choosing. And we're also now taking this one step further, where you can also, not only for the traps, like you see, if you see in the stand outside, the unit we have now is, you can mount that on the side of a trap on a wall. We now have taken this a step further to also have a multi-purpose, so to speak, unit that you can just hook on with a carabiner to any equipment at all. So you can use that on nets, on all different equipment that might get lost on sea. And now with the opportunities we have, as you see, we got Sig Hansen on our team, so we have kind of like this poster child, so to speak, that we can use in promoting our vision. And what we want to do now is to really revolutionize the fishing industry. I've always said that fishing is like hunting in the forest with a blindfold. If you go in and you shoot around you and you take off the blindfold and you see if you got an animal. This is kind of like how fishing works. You can't see anything down there, you just throw it in and you have some superstition. I know the Sig in his boat, they have some rituals that they do to try to get more catch. Of course, it doesn't work, you need science. And you can argue with me on that, Sig, but so we are thinking now to bring data sensors into the oceans. So using the fishing gear as vessels for getting temperature data, data about current, oxygen, salinity, we can now start to understand more and learn more about the ocean. And that can be utilized in the fishing industry, but also in climate research and other areas. So this brings a lot of exciting technology together, and that's why I appreciate being here today and talking to you guys. I think there are synergies. I think the transfer of knowledge and technology from the oil industry to what we are doing is just brilliant. And I think what we set out to do, we're going to need industrial partners in the future. Maybe some of you are here today, so feel free to reach out if you see any logical connections between what we're doing and what you want to do. And let's see what that brings. Well, we now, as a company, we now have projects. We are testing out our product in we have Australia, New Zealand, Canada, Jamaica, Portugal, here in Norway. So we do a lot of projects all over the world, getting verification. We just now started selling. We finished our product this beginning of the year. So we are now traveling around, visiting different expos, demonstrating our product to the industry, to the fishermen, and it's really taken on. So our distributor in Canada just placed the first big breakthrough order for us of 30,000 units that are going to be aimed at the Canadian lobster fisheries in Prince Edward Island in particular. So it's very exciting what we have, and we couldn't have had better help and better marketing than we have with Sig Hansen. We really appreciate to have him on board as both a co-owner, also a user of the product and an ambassador of the product. So I'd like to invite